Well, I keep having this vision, but it's a day vision. It's like in my mind, and I see it regularly after our last episode about the carpetbaggers. I see like a big grotto, and there's like a cave door that you can see through, and I'm walking through another door, and all around this area there's water falling down a bit, and all around this area towards that door there's all these people standing there trying to stop the younger generation to go straight past them and out through that doorway. I keep seeing it all the time, and I just think how wicked it's been that everybody's been caught up in the mindsets that these carpetbaggers have, these people that have come into the 𝗩𝗏𝗏𝗏 belief system, and they're all trying to gain assemblies and grow their assemblies like the Christians do, and make themselves something special. And it's just this horrible dead feeling I can see in these people. They're all smiling and trying to be nice, but it's not. It's just the most horrible feeling, and I see young people being snatched away, mixing in it. And then when you go onto Facebook, you see so many young people that have been caught by their doctrines. And it's really upsetting, and they're all fighting on Facebook about all the things when we came in that we used to fight about with older folks. You know, and they're still going, they're still pushing those doctrines. But I look at what Yahushua's saying to me, you're out of that. You can walk in and out that door all the time, doesn't matter, they don't affect you. But we're on the other side of it now, where we don't have religion, we don't have traditions, we don't have money, tithes and all that sort of stuff. We don't have assemblies. And I hear people say that they're lonely and they wish they had people. Where can they go to get in a group? And when we came out of Christianity, we were so happy not to have all that pressure. It was very upsetting at first when everybody left our group, but we can see that Yahushua did that. And then we started to enjoy the peace. And we can see that all the trouble wasn't in us, Victoria and I. We were quite happy together, but it was all the drama that came with them and all their feelings and emotions, because they hadn't matured. And they didn't want to, they wanted their own ways. They all had desires and wants that they wanted to fulfill. And so I've been looking at this situation, the freedom we've got not to be in shadow belief, to understand the feasts that they've been fulfilled, and there's some to go, you know? And that's very exciting, not to have to be part of a group. Because of the portal situation, we have his presence, and you're not lonely, you're not unhappy. You can feel him all day, every day. You've got peace. It's only when you go out that there's all this chaos. And so Victoria and I are very happy that we have a place where we can go and just be peaceful without chaos, you know. So that's very exciting to understand that He will fulfill all the loneliness. He'll fill you up with His love and His peace and Himself. So I thought that was really, really interesting, you know, looking at that. And the carpetbaggers, they're still there. They're still going to be there right to the end, because they won't repent, they won't give in, because probably now they've achieved something they couldn't achieve in the Christian realm, and they're not giving it up for anybody. So they will lie, and I don't want to be involved with that. That's why I got out of Christianity, because I could see. So I was just going to go through a little talk about what we went through, what Victoria and I went through, and you guys will come into it, of course. But before Christianity came to me, I was mixed up in Buddhism and Hinduism, and I was going to be adopted by one of the royal family from Bali. 𝗪𝗔𝗓𝗓𝗓 was his name. He was going to adopt me into his family and marry me off to a Chinese princess. But when I got home and I told Beryl about this, she hit the roof. That's my mother, Beryl. You're my son, you're not getting adopted by Indonesians, no way. So, yeah. I won't sign any papers for you. All that sort of thing went down, and I was stumped there. And then an Indonesian guy came to look at the paintings we had in our art gallery underneath our salon. And he said, could he come back and have a talk to us after business? So we said, oh yeah, this is interesting. And then he started to talk to us about Jesus. And I remembered I used to go to a Pentecostal church when I was a kid. I left it when I was 14 because they told me to give up swimming. I had to go to the swimming meetings on Sunday, and they didn't like that, so I left the church and went to my swimming meetings. Then I was in the world and had lots of experiences there. And this Indonesian pastor, actually, he was very cunning. I didn't realise, I just thought he was wonderful, because straight away when he told me about Jesus, I remembered Jesus. I'd forgotten all about him, actually. Even though we drive past churches all the time, I'd just forgotten all about him. And then we started to get involved with meetings and things like that, and he was teaching us. And he was very cunning. We went to that church that I used to go to in Manly Vale. The 𝗪𝗪𝗪s used to run that church. And he started working with the pastor because he had a printing factory in Brookvale over in Manly. And he started working and wanted to get involved so that he could use the whole situation, unbeknownst to me. And then he would drive all the way to the other side of Sydney every day. And I think they gave him a bit of a wage because he didn't have a wage, and they were living in squalor. Pardon me. And he started talking to us about tithes, so we actually took half the money that we made and tithed that to them, as well as paying a tithe to them. The double tithing, you know. Double tithing, you were told you'd get double blessings. So we didn't get double blessings. We got ripped off. Anyway, he was supporting his 2 kids and wife as well, and I thought I was with him and moving in the spirit. And, you know, eventually he got us to turn our salon on Oxford Street into a meeting place, and every Saturday evening we'd have a meeting. We'd strip the salon out and put all the chairs in rows, and people could come in off the street, and we'd invite all sorts of pastors to come and preach. Before I go on there, lately I've been looking at the Qin dynasty. I saw a program that had 79 episodes, and I was watching it in between clients every day, just going back and forth, you know. And I got through it, and then we watched an article on the Qin dynasty, and we saw that he was the first emperor of China, and he had 6 other states that he annihilated to take over and make one nation, and it's now called China. And he had all the wise men in China come work for him, and he used to, while he was in warfare fighting them all the different states, he would send people in to cause trouble and drama, sort of like what's happened to Trumpy. I think the opposition have sent people in dressed up as Trumpy's people, and that's when all the violence started in the White House. So they used to infiltrate the Qin dynasty. The emperor used to infiltrate nations and cause havoc and bribe noblemen. And so this is how they conquered. Then they had the first language, one language spoken throughout China. He invented that. He invented a legal system. He invented so many things, and he wanted, eventually he called himself a god, and he wanted to become a god. He wanted to ascend, and he wanted eternal life. And so he was taking mercury tablets, which actually got into his blood system, went to his brain, and made him go nuts. So that's how he ended up, and he was the most incredible man, built all these structures and canals and fertilised the land. He was so amazing. And of course, the conquerors write the history, and they burnt all the things that he did, all the books and all the information on it, and they want to become conquerors. And so looking at that, I saw the church in Australia grow. When we were having the meetings in the salon, we had those for a few years, we'd invite preachers, and we invited Brian Houston and his dad. They started to come to us as clients for their haircuts, and then they found out about the meeting we had, or they already knew, and they wanted to preach there, so we invited them. Little beknownst to us, they want to steal the congregation, and they did that. And they first started off in Double Bay. They had a house meeting there, and then they eventually rented a building and started to grow, and everyone around was going to them, and they were just going and pinching all the time. And then they had a break up with the father. Brian had a break up with his father, and then he went on to do bigger, amazing things up in Hillsong, and now you know it's a world conglomerate. So he's grown and grown and grown and grown. He told all the churches at that stage that they needed to be under a banner. They needed like an umbrella, he explained it, that we all have to be associated. So he became the top of the Christian movement in Australia. They had an organisation, and him and his father were running all that, and they were running all the churches. So they stole lots and lots and lots of people, which reminds me of the Qin dynasty. And we can see the Romans did the same, the Greeks did the same. It's all been going on for years and years and years, doing the same thing. And it's in the churches now. And Brian Houston broke up a whole lot of congregations all over the western suburbs, all over the place. He said, you can't operate unless you're under a banner. And he lied to everyone, and churches closed all over the place and went and joined up with him. So he's got a whole army of people that he's been using for free, and he's been making untold money. The same as the Qin dynasty, the Romans and the Greeks, everybody else, you know. So that's infiltrated into religion now because of Catholicism. That came, they are the ones that worked out the system too, you know, and they knew about China and Russia and other places that were doing similar things. So we had the Jesus movement start before Brian Houston was there, and that was raging and going, and everyone was getting the Spirit and speaking in tongues and having visions and all these things, you know. And a lot of people couldn't make it in the mega church, and they were scrutinised and put out. And we've met lots of people that have been very unhappy about their experience with those situations. They're broken men. And these sort of people are the ones that find out about the Gnatram system and want to infiltrate and lift themselves up and make themselves something, you know? It all works on our ego, but it's not the spirit of Yahushua that's working. It's wicked spirits in high places. So then we broke away from our Indonesian pastor because I had drama with him or something, wasn't pleasant. And then we felt lonely and we missed being in the church. So he took us back and he said, you have to prove yourself before I'll make you a pastor again. Or I want to make you a pastor. And then he took me to Indonesia and I became a pastor in the Indonesian Pentecostal church. And then we came back and we started working on building the church. And he was in Petersham, is that it? Tempe, yeah. And then we also started a church in the local suburb where we were, in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, was down by the river. There was a hall there we used to rent, and that was sort of growing a bit, you know. And then we moved up to Blacktown near the Leagues Club there. Am I right on the ball now?
Yeah.
And we went there, and after that,
Kevin Connor's teaching.
yeah, we went into Kevin Connor's teaching from Melbourne. Did we leave Max again there?
Yeah, all your church.
Yeah, I think so.
All your church turned against you. Wrote letters to Kevin Connor. And
Yeah, you better speak up.
you had no association with anything or anyone. You weren't even.
Yeah.
You were backslidden heathens when I met you.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's right. We left him and then we went back to him again after.
All the church wrote lies about you to Kevin Connor, and
Yeah,
That's right.
I don't know why I wasn't there.
yeah. And a lot of families were upset and angry. And when I was in Max's church, he got me to marry a whole lot of white folks. and he and later on we found out that all of them bar one got divorced, which was interesting when you look at the teaching. Now through this, Victoria and I are still in there. When we first met, she came when I was into meditation, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we used to talk, and we wanted to find the truth of life, why we're here, what's our purpose, what's the reason. And we've been going through all this searching all our lives, and working in soup kitchens and going down with preachers that preach in the park to all the drunks and drug addicts.
Pulling druggies off the street and taking them to church.
All that sort of thing. And he used to cast spirits out of people, and we thought, oh my God, people were frothing at the mouth on the ground and all sorts of things. So we got caught up in all that. You know, it was quite an amazing situation, but there wasn't something that just didn't ring true. And I saw when we had Matthew, and we had a celebration for what? For your family came to.
Oh, for his birthday.
No, it wasn't his birthday. He didn't get immersed.
Oh, for his dedication.
Dedication, that's right. We had I've forgotten about all that. We had a dedication ceremony, and I could see in Max he was trying to get Victoria's family, because they were a little bit on the wealthy side, and he was trying to get to them to win them over so he could make money. He was trying to make money out of everyone and everything all the time, and using everybody, like Brian Houston, like all of them, like the Chin dynasty. Yeah. Like they wanted to control everything, and you can see Brian Houston's going global now. I'm so glad that I'm not in this. And then we left Max again, Pastor Max from Indonesia, and we just didn't do anything, did we?
No.
And we opened a salon in Seven Hills, and that's when you came along. And all that sort of stuff had gone on in our life before we met you. And then when you came in, we started up with Max again. We went back to him again like suckers, because you know I wanted to be a pastor again. And he said to me this time, well, you're going to have to prove yourself.
You started first in your lounge room,
But
when you saw my mates and I were pretty serious, you knew we had to come under you thought we had to come under a banner.
That's
And the only banner you knew that you trusted was Max.
Yeah, so we went through that again.
My whole family was in at that point.
Yeah, your family were involved. They were in the band and your band, and we were trying to outreach to people. And people like Adam, drug addicts and like that were coming in, and it was causing all sorts of strife and everything. And Max wanted to introduce this new Kundalini spirit where you fell on the ground and rolled on the ground and all that. Remember Jason on his knees barking at all the women's feet?
Getting slain. Toronto experience.
Yeah, that's right. So we were just caught up, lost, and then there's this little guy from Max's church. We used to go down to St. Peter's, Tempe, every Sunday, and there was this little guy that used to sit right in the middle of the church, and when the sermon came, he'd get up and walk out and go and have a pee. And we used to think it was very rude, you know. And we judged him for that in those days. And later on I found out that he just had a problem there and he had to go regularly, you know. He could have sat on the edge of the church where he could have walked out. Anyway, so your dad came in and your dad Max wanted to raise him up to preach and all that sort of thing. And you were leading the band and everyone was pretty solid and set.
I was trying to get to Indonesia.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, he took your sister and my son.
Yeah, that's it.
and your brother.
If only I got spiritual enough, I'd get to go on a ministry tour
Yeah,
to
but he
Indonesia,
needed you
slay
for-
people in the spirit like he did.
Needed you for the band.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. He used to tell all those stories.
Mm.
And he wanted to use you big time.
Yeah.
But myself, I could see what he was up to, what Max was up to. He wanted to have a mega church using the white people and the Indonesians combined. So I didn't like that, and I didn't like the doctrines. And this guy that used to get up and go out and have a pee gave me a copy of Fossilised Customs one day. And so I looked at that and read that, and I said to Max, what about this? And then he gave me the IHS scriptures with they had Yahweh in it, didn't they?
It just had Babylonian and Hebrew
YHWH.
symbols.
All right.
But I think we were saying Yahweh at the time.
Yeah. And Max was into Yahweh and changing Christmas and don't want to do Christmas, and we were all sort of Yahoo. But then when I read this book and I got the full information on Fossilised Customs, he didn't want it. He said, I'm not interested, I don't want to do that, because he was associated with the Indonesian church. He used to go over there all the time, make money preaching. And if he did that, he would lose his fame with his church over there, and they're thinking he's getting this mega church in Sydney. And they used to come over from time to time. But Max was sort of, I felt, shoving me off, and he was happy with what he was doing, and I felt like, you just stand there and shut up. One day he came up to me and he said, because I used to do prophecy in those days, and every time I got up to do a prophecy, Max and Shenny, each of them his wife used to take turns in preaching, and it was the subject they were talking about and they couldn't believe it. So they said to me, you should go around the church and say whatever you want to the people as a prophet. And I thought, oh, this is a bit of a setup. So I told her what I thought about her behaviour and how she was carrying on. She hit the roof, walked out of our house in the rain. You know, Victoria went up, drove up the street after her, and she was drenched. To prove the point that I'm wrong. But I wasn't wrong. I was looking for Yahusha then, because I knew his name. I knew it was, or he didn't, Lou wrote it. He used to call it Yahweh or...
Yahshua.
Yeah, and we was still, I knew that was the right direction. I wanted to get there, come out of all that sort of thing, you know. And so one day I just said to Victor, let's sit in the middle of the church, because I was told to sit at the front of the church. I had to always be down the front. And when I went up to the middle of the church, because he didn't want to use me for sermons anymore, he was training other people. And I'd go up, I sat in the middle of the church and I could see things going on that I couldn't see down there, and how it was all set up and everything. And I thought, oh. And then the next week, I sat the last row. Then I could see the whole chaotic mess. To me it was. And I didn't want to be part of it anymore, and I said to Victoria, I'm going home. So we drove all the way back to Blacktown, and then you guys all rolled up. We used to all get together and have lunch, remember? Then you guys rolled up and wanted to what's happening, and I told you I wasn't going back anymore. And everyone was sewn into all the meetings we had, every Sunday tripping all the way down there. It was cruel and it wasn't right and it was unfair, and then paying double tithes on top of it. And I just felt like this doesn't ring real to me. You know, and it was changing everything. The doctrine started to change, things started to change. And I thought, this isn't clean. I don't feel clean, I feel dirty. And I think that night your father came over.
And you announced to everybody, we're thinking of just starting our own fellowship here.
Yeah.
On the fringe.
Yeah, we already had a meeting, didn't we?
Yeah,
With-
Robert Perky's.
Yeah. And we used to go there every Sunday night, but then that night we locked the gate so Max couldn't get in. Oh, he was furious. I didn't want to know him after that. I didn't want to be part of it because, and I didn't know all this history that I know now. I didn't have this knowledge, but I read Fossilised and that really helped me. And then he put out the 𝗦𝗖𝗥𝗑𝗣𝗧𝗨, and then I've read through all that and I really love it. And so we wanted to go and meet Lou White that wrote it. And we went over there and we had our experience, and we explained that in the last video. And his behaviour didn't ring true because we went over there with, we only had 2 rules at that time, and we wanted to talk to him about the 2 rules, and he didn't want to receive it. He did it first, but then he didn't want to. And so it sort of made me think, oh, I don't know if I can trust this. Anyway, we came back, and then with you doing the videos with him for over a year, we tried to get him to accept. And there were lots of things we wanted to know because he'd been through all that research and study and written a 𝗬𝗬𝗏 and translated it, and there was lots of things we wanted to know, and I think it took us about a year or year and a half or 2 years to understand so much more. And then we started to hear from Yahusha, you know. And that experience that we went through, we had so many people come against us because we wanted Yahusha. And all we're doing is our journey of life, wanting to get out. And people that would hear would be furious.
Yeah.
And they turn their families against us and all sorts of things, and let me cop it. It was all my fault. Yeah, it's all my fault, the whole thing. I face it. But I wanted to get out. And I think I'm allowed to get out. And I think I'm allowed to say the truth, that I believe in Yahusha. And that's what I'm doing now. And I just look back at that vision I had, and the carpet bag is all hanging around, and they did it with the Qin dynasty, and they've done it with the Romans and the Greeks and the Mongolians and Russians, you know, and China now, what China's doing the same thing globally. So I've caused so much trouble, heartache and hurt to people that I've tried to convince. I've caused that by telling them about Yahusha. I've put it in the papers in Atherton. For a whole year it cost us $1,000 a month, and we used to do that for Yahusha to get his name out, and Lou White. But again, we got used in that situation. But now we've come to a place where we don't have a religion, we don't have traditions, we don't have church, we don't have meetings. We're free. And we have Yahushua. We have his peace and his love. Now, I don't care how much abuse I get for that. It's been worth the journey to find out this. You guys want to say anything?
No?
Wow. That's all
Well,
I can say. Is
Well
wow.
then, you've come in now, but I can't believe how you've just accepted the 3 rules and
Started doing them.
read the scripture with Mark, and it's been so quick. I couldn't even talk to you at the beginning. You just stand up in a restaurant and argue with me and talk loud at me like, oh dear, and be offended and all that stuff.
Yep.
Now we love each other.
Yep, absolutely.
That's amazing. It's been so quick. 3 years.
Yep.
So I can see by you that if people apply the 3 rules and read the scripture, and they get immersed and their portals open, they can have the experience. And I cannot deny that you've changed so much and Yahushua's in you. I can't deny that. I've watched it. It's incredible. So you've come in now to this, and there's 4 of us here in Cairns that we know have Yahushua. But we're not satisfied with that. We're in a battle. We want people to know him and have the experience of his love and kindness and healing of your body and your mind and deliverance from all problems, and give you a sense of the person that you are with him in you, the power that's there. And we want to see so many people delivered like you've been delivered. Your deliverance has been a personal thing. It's been a quiet thing between you and Yahushua.
Absolutely.
And you've made up your mind. That shows me that once a person makes up their mind and they're truthful, they can go in the water and get the Spirit, and they don't have to go through what the 3 of us have been through. The new ones can come in and just go, oh wow, throw off all the worldly stuff and say, I want this. And you shouldn't be stopped or fed carpetbagger doctrines. And I would love to see many more people like you come through. But us, that's why Yahushua said the first is going to be the last and the last is going to be the first. First ones in have to step back and let the new ones come in and help them and guide them, love them. Not all this position. I want to be a prophet, I want to be a pastor, I want to be a teacher. Not all that. That's not what it's about. It's about people being delivered. And all this carpet-bagging religious mumbo-jumbo is in the way. I'd just like to be able to reach people like you so they can go straight through and not worry about those carpetbaggers. Of course they're going to have a little bit of turmoil here and there, but that's within, and they have to work that out. That's what you've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? So I'd love to see more of that.
Well, the thing is, everybody's journey's different. Everybody's walk's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's come from a different place. So, you know, you've got to make the decision yourself. Do I believe this or don't I? Look, I'll be honest, at first I thought, my goodness, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah, I know.
And it was like, and then all of a sudden something just, what are you doing? Why don't you believe this? Look at what the Catholic system did to you. for so many years and how they treated you. And all they wanted was money and whatever else it was. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So all these thoughts were going on, you know, going through me and all of that. And it's like, what have I got to lose? And I've gained so much more. So much more.
Wonderful.
It just goes to show that the message that's come to you, being refined, what Christopher has been through and how his journey, our journey, and the refining of the message.
Yeah.
How it's come through with free, without any entanglements, you know.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
And the 3 rules help to just fast track you into it.
Absolutely. Yep.
So,
𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗑𝗣𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗑 is a entanglement, isn't it?
yeah.
Very much so.
So you've been able to just get into the word, go into it, and apply the scripture to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see
Without
that
religion.
you can see that Therese is sure
Yeah,
of her decisions, can't you?
yeah.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Why have we taken so long to get to this
Because we
place?
had religion, and also the mindset, what we're involved with, and
What's
what we
that?
had to.
Tell me what that is.
Well, see, I'd actually cut religion off quite some time ago. More so because of what I'd been through when I had an uncle that committed suicide and so forth. So I sent my kids to a Catholic church. I thought I was doing the right thing by getting both my children baptized in the Catholic church, and my daughter actually went through all the sacraments with them. But I decided with my son, no, I'm not doing all that with him. The only thing that he did was literally got baptized.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I also went through a pretty ugly, messy divorce and court systems and so forth, and not being religious as such, I think it just made it that bit easier for me, because I didn't have all that religious hang up, because
Stuff to unlearn.
I could have recited the scriptures back and forth, or the Good News Bible, as it's called, from front to back to front, you know, because literally in school, the priest would come in and teach us every single day. And I was like,
Brainwashing
yeah,
without the spirit,
exactly, and
wrong spirit.
yeah, I don't want to know about that.
Right.
So
Very
that's
exciting.
probably why it took me less time.
So what were you saying?
Because of the religion that we were caught up in and bound up in, and also the traditions that I didn't want to let go of traditions as quick, and there was nothing that we had that was any much better, because we just found the fullness of Yahusha.
So how do you feel about what you just said, and you look at Victoria as been hanging on to these things? On your journey, what would that do to you if you held on to the things she's been hanging on to?
I'd be in turmoil.
Yeah, but what else?
Oh,
You're on a journey.
it'd stop me.
Aha!
It'd stop me from getting to where I want to go.
And whose choice is that?
Right.
Each individual person's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you give up and you dig your heels in, you're going to have an unpleasant time, aren't you?
Yep.
You've got to
Course.
move on
Yep.
with him, what he
Keep going.
says. Yeah.
I think it's very exciting. Yeah, we're cutting the corners. You don't have to go through all the crap we went through. And we wanted to go through it. Half the time we were enjoying it. But then when you can see something, you either had a choice,
What
Do
was
something
it that
about
you
it.
were enjoying?
or in retrospect, nothing. But while you're in it, you think, oh, we finally got free, and you say, we're finally free, and then after a while you think, we're not free at all.
How did you feel the day that I said I'm not going back?
Oh, you bastard. It was the week after we watched it go further and further back. And the next week, this wasn't there. So, what's going on?
Oh, you went down
Yeah.
after we weren't
And
there.
he said, check out this book.
So why did you go down?
Oh, I can't remember now. Because I
You're
was
in
probably
the
rostered on.
industry.
Yeah. Yeah, we hadn't officially, you hadn't officially announced to everybody, I guess, that we're not doing this anymore. We think it's best to just do it ourselves in our own small assembly. We're going to do it on the fringe, and that announcement hadn't come yet, I don't think. But yeah, when you look back at the labour, so much labour, and just to feel like you're part of something, just to feel like you're connected to the Creator, just to feel like you're doing the right thing. And now He's right there inside us, and you can feel Him when He's happy with you, and you can feel Him when He's not, and it's as simple as that.
Well, I want to apologise to you guys because
I'll say you should, you bastard.
well, I want to apologise for going on.
Going on,
All
leaving
the,
you all behind.
all the grief it's caused.
Yeah.
I didn't want to stay in that.
Yeah.
Now I've found peace
How wonderful.
and I'm really happy.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry it's caused so much trouble to everybody,
Mm.
but I want it out.
Yeah.
Can you see why I want it out?
Yeah,
Yeah,
big time.
yeah.
I don't want to feel like they feel
Mm.
and like I felt.
Mm.
I don't want that. And if anyone wants to feel like that about me,
Mm.
it's warfare, honey.
Mm.
I don't mind.
Mm. It really is.
Come on.
Yeah, it really is part of your walk. You can't explain it at the time. People look at it through physical, natural eyes and say, you did this and you did that, and you changed your mind. You were worshipping this name, and then next year you would change it to this name. The next year you change it to this. What year is it? What name is it this year, Mark? You know, my family used to throw that at me. What do you call him now? Like, it's changed so often.
Yeah.
And you got to say, yeah, it does look insane when you look back, but we were finding our way out. You know?
Well, was it insane?
It was insane
And we were
too.
insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
And what does it say about them still stuck?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. We wanted to find the way out. We knew it wasn't. And yeah, it is hard to explain, but this is exactly what the emissaries did, the disciples did. They followed him to their death. They saw something they wanted and they followed him, left their jobs, you know, just left their wives for a time and children, and just went off. Who does that?
What if people started to think like us and wanted to get out of it and they want to have a meeting? What
They
would
can.
you do? What would you do, Mark? And they'd want all of us at the meeting. What would you do?
If it was nearby. If they just needed encouragement, yeah, fine.
They wanted teaching.
Oh, you can
How
get
would
teaching from anywhere.
How would you run it
How would I run it?
if they wanted to be in a group?
I'd probably just find some kind of text that was reliable, if not the scripture itself. That's the best text. But if we found some kind of teaching that was reliable, and you just take in turns. You don't lift any particular person up. And obviously, if there's someone in a room that's been doing this longer, you've got things to say. But it's always house to house. It's always no position. It's always Yahusha. And every meeting would be different, just like we've said about the feast. Every feast is different. Every conversation would be different. You don't have a bloody liturgy, you know, churchy thing, you know. You just come together. If you want to come together, you may not even get to the word one week. It might be just full of real conversation, which is Yahusha anyway, I think. And then, like we've done before, there are a couple of books that were useful, so we do it, and then they either go on and move away, or they abandon it, or they go on and they just do something else themselves. Like, it's a temporary. It's hard to give a set answer to that because you just have to flow with what's. But you flow.
Hmm.
Yeah, you flow with it.
Wonderful.
Mm.
That's a colour.
We've been going for about 54 minutes.
Right. Anything more you want to say?
No, it's
Don't let
marvellous.
it go. Don't let it go.
Marvellous to be able to cut the corners, everybody. And the 3 rules do, like you say, cut the corners and catapult people, because they're not made up. They're a summary of, you know, every single rule. You could recite 50 to 100 scriptures that are, you know, so they are scripture. It's just a funky modern way to say it, that people can understand. And people even who may not even be called by Yahusha can use the rules and helps them in their family, their job there.
Now, why are you trying to prove on the tape, why are you trying to prove that the 3 rules, or who are you trying to prove it to?
All the people that have said that they're not scripture, they're not, you're adding to the word.
Well, I can feel there's a bit of upsetment in you there about that.
There is.
I would like to see it end.
Yeah.
What do you need to make up your mind about it that you don't have to keep proving it over and over and over? It's all right to, you know, express it to somebody. It's out there enough now.
Yeah.
But why do you feel you have to prove the point to them?
Yeah, I shouldn't.
No.
No. They either got it or they don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Yahusha's choosing who he wants.
Yeah, that's good.
And amongst ourselves we can see we don't know who it is.
No.
You know, look here. Bang.
Yeah.
You know, things are happening with your kids.
Yeah. We had, 6 immersions in the family. That was bang. Yeah. So, amazing.
So that's to the fruit. The seed there's got to grow and bear fruit. And so you're going to have an exciting time there with that, you know, as their minds grow into it.
I think the thing that's helped us too is that in the beginning, every movement you come out of, you're worshipping the movement and the liturgy of it. It gets refined a little bit more, but you're still worshipping the movement and the people and the liturgy. And so even if you didn't like, that's what you said to me ages ago. You said, my life completely changed even when I came into Jesus, because I was into the Word. The Word changed me, not the... And then it was just all the system that was getting in the way. But if people know they can go straight to the Word, particularly with a portal open, that's where... all these movements we came out of, we're just getting out of the movements. The Word really didn't change a lot. The names changed, a few things here, but it was the movements we were untangling from. The carpetbaggers. So you're right. The young generations know they can come straight to the Word, who is Yahusha, through their portal.
We have to get this across.
Yeah.
People like Lanisha that's really interested.
Yeah.
She has to know she can go straight through. She doesn't have to be angry at those people, but she can walk right by them with joy, knowing there's no religion, there's no liturgy, there's no assemblies,
And tithes and offerings.
tithes and money and all that sort of stuff. You're free to act how you believe he's speaking to you once you get his spirit. The portal's open, you won't be lonely. So people like Therese have got that message. That's a message we want to get across to the younger generation, so they can walk right by the carpetbaggers and understand they're out of order. And they're taking a position that doesn't really exist.
And you're going to be hated.
So why would I want to prove myself to men like that?
You wouldn't. Just walk right by.
And that's what the younger generation needs to know. Recognise the carpetbaggers, religion, wearing all the little caps and things, and you know, doing the feasts the wrong way.
Ẓīķis. Still flogging the ẓīķis.
They want the traditions, and they want to put people in bondage, and they want people to buy those things off them so they can make money again. Same as the Chinese did in the Qin dynasty, using everyone and everything, same as they're doing today. Chinese own the world almost now, and they want a lot of it. They're very clever. But That's the world.
Mm.
We've got a different agenda.
Mm.
Yeah?
Yeah, totally. Very exciting.
I just want to say that I've walked with you and I've seen what you've had to go through, and it's just been horrendous. And to get to where you are now, and you've changed so much. The abuse you've had, so unfair, but the abuse you've gone through has just moulded you, and it's 𝗬𝗔𝗧𝗖𝗛's word, and it's so exciting to see the result.
Wonderful,
of the
isn't it?
change. Yeah, it's amazing.
Big change. You'd see that in me
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
from the beginning to now.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Yeah, not trying to make anything or you're just soft. The love is there.
Well, that's what he does.
Yeah.
He's done to 𝗪𝗓𝗧𝗪𝗧 too.
Yeah.
You know, all that
Yeah.
hardness is gone.
And when you don't have the softness or the love, you've got to fill it with something else. Agenda and trying to make things happen and manipulate people to get a point across, and you know, like, it's just not. When 𝗬𝗓𝗔𝗗's there, 𝗬𝗓𝗔 does it all. Yeah, that's what I've noticed.
So now I want you two to come together as a husband and wife, hearing from 𝗬𝗓𝗔 and acting on what you think he said to you, and work on it together. And also leaving a little bit of stretch in there. Whereas if you think, oh, I think he wanted us to do that, then change your mind and do it by yourselves. Do you think 𝗬𝗓𝗔 wants that sort of relationship with you?
Totally.
And all husbands and wives and all believers.
Yeah.
And he wants us to act that way.
Yeah.
Cut all the corners and just go straight to what you've heard, because you've got a portal opened, you've got his spirit. You can, my people, hear my voice. You can hear his voice. Don't listen to the carpetbaggers, and do what he says immediately. Don't put it off or wait. Don't balk.
Yeah.
You know, go right in there and do it.
Yeah.
So talk about it.
Brilliant. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, brothers and sisters, for listening to us. We hope this is a wonderful blessing to you all. We love you. Bye.
Brothers and sisters, how would you like to fast track to 𝗬𝗓𝗔𝗧𝗖𝗛's favour?